A sleek private jet touches down before sunrise. Inside, a young crown prince reviews notes on a nation he is reshaping, while somewhere in France, an empty $300 million chateau waits for a visit that may never come. This is the strange, layered world of Mohammed bin Salman, the man who controls one of the richest countries on earth and whose personal spending habits have made headlines almost as often as his policies. Mohammed bin Salman, widely known by his initials MBS, was born in 1985, the eldest son of King Salman and his third wife. He studied law at King Saud University and spent years working quietly behind the scenes before rising rapidly through the ranks of the Saudi government. In 2017, he became crown prince and shortly after, prime minister, making him the effective ruler of Saudi Arabia and, by extension, one of the most powerful individuals in global politics and finance. Before his rise, MBS worked as a special advisor to his father, then a regional governor, learning the machinery of Saudi politics from the inside. When King Salman ascended the throne in 2015, his son's influence expanded quickly, first as Minister of Defense, then as head of economic policy, before finally becoming crown prince 2 years later. That climb, unusually fast by royal standards, reshaped the traditional line of succession and placed a relatively young leader in control of one of the world's most consequential economies. What makes his story unusual is the blurry line between personal wealth and national wealth. Estimates of his direct personal fortune vary wildly, from around $5 billion to more ambitious figures near $25 billion, depending on which assets analysts count as his own. Saudi Arabia does not publish detailed financial disclosures for members of the royal family, so most figures come from leaked documents, court filings tied to his purchases, or journalist estimates rather than official statements. But focusing only on that number misses the bigger picture.
As Crown Prince, he effectively directs the Public Investment Fund, a sovereign wealth vehicle holding close to $1 trillion in assets, along with enormous influence over Saudi Aramco, one of the most valuable companies on the planet. In terms of raw economic reach, few individuals anywhere come close.
Even so, it is his personal purchases that tend to capture public imagination. In 2015, intermediaries acting on his behalf acquired the Chateau Louis XIV, a sprawling estate outside Paris built to resemble the palaces of French royalty. Reports pegged the price near $300 million, making it, at the time, one of the most expensive private residences ever sold. The property includes a moat, an underwater music room, and a nightclub, though by most accounts, the Crown Prince has rarely stayed there. That same year, he purchased Serene, a 439-foot super yacht built in Italy, reportedly for around $500 million. Serene is less a boat and more a floating resort, complete with a spa, a submarine, an ice room, and its own helicopter pad. It briefly became famous when photos surfaced of it being used during a Mediterranean vacation, drawing global attention to the scale of Gulf royal spending. Perhaps the most talked about acquisition came in 2017 when a buyer linked to the Crown Prince paid over $450 million for Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi at a Christie's auction in New York. The sale shattered records for a single artwork, and the painting's current location remains something of a mystery, with reports suggesting it may be kept aboard Serene itself, though this has never been confirmed. Beyond the headline purchases, MBS maintains a lifestyle built around access to the full Saudi royal fleet, including several customized Boeing aircraft and residences across the kingdom, including palatial compounds in Riyadh. When asked directly about his spending during a 2018 interview with CBS's 60 Minutes, he did not deny the purchases, instead framing them as the natural privilege of belonging to a ruling family with centuries of history behind it.
Yet the story of MBS cannot be told through luxury alone. He is also the architect of Vision 2030, an ambitious plan to diversify Saudi Arabia's economy away from oil dependence.
Under this banner, he has championed enormous, almost futuristic projects, most notably Neom, a planned megacity in the desert designed around renewable energy and advanced technology, along with The Line, a proposed linear city stretching for miles. These projects, funded largely through the Public Investment Fund, are framed as long-term bets on Saudi Arabia's future relevance in a post-oil world. Domestically, his tenure has brought real social change. Women were granted the right to drive in 2018, cinemas reopened after decades of closure, and entertainment options expanded significantly, part of a broader push to modernize the kingdom's image and economy. He has also overseen high-profile anti-corruption campaigns, including a controversial 2017 crackdown that saw dozens of officials and businessmen detained at the Ritz-Carlton Riyadh, with authorities claiming billions of dollars in settlements were recovered.
At the same time, MBS remains one of the more polarizing leaders on the world stage. His government has faced sustained international criticism over human rights issues, restrictions on dissent, and the 2018 killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, an event that drew global condemnation and continues to shape how he is perceived abroad. Supporters argue his reforms are transforming Saudi society for the better, while critics contend that personal luxury and consolidated power sit uneasily alongside calls for accountability. Away from politics, MBS is known to enjoy falconry, a traditional pastime among Gulf royals, along with horses and off-road vehicles. He founded the Mohammed bin Salman Foundation, known as MISC, aimed at supporting education, culture, and innovation among young Saudis, positioning himself not just as a ruler, but as a patron of the country's next generation. He is married to Princess Sarah bint Mashur, with whom he has several children, though, as with much of his private life, details are rarely shared publicly, and the family maintains a low profile compared to the visibility of his political and economic decisions. So what does the luxurious life of Mohammed bin Salman actually tell us? It is a story where staggering personal wealth, opaque by design, sits alongside control over trillions in national assets. A $300 million chateau he rarely visits, a $500 million yacht built like a private nation of its own, a record-breaking painting whose whereabouts remain unknown. And behind all of it, a leader simultaneously reshaping his country's economy and facing intense scrutiny over how that power is used. Whether viewed by supporters as a bold, modernizing reformer, or by critics as a symbol of unchecked royal excess and concentrated power, one thing about his story is undeniably clear. Few figures in the world today blur the line between personal luxury and national power quite like the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. If you found this breakdown interesting, let us know your honest thoughts down in the comments below, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most powerful and controversial figures.